Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on KREM News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we begin with this. Just a short time ago, the judge making the decision to release the South Hill rapist. Kevin Coe was believed to be responsible for upwards of 40 sexual assaults. However, in the end, he was only convicted for one rape. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy is tracking developments going on this afternoon, and I'm not sure, Shannon, we may be having some technical issues. Are you there?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Laura.
Okay, so Shannon, we can't see you, but we can hear you. So let's talk about this. You were inside the court. Today was really a release hearing about Kevin Coe getting out. However, there were victims. Was Kevin Coe, I don't believe he was in the courtroom here. Was he there or present digitally? Did anybody see Kevin Coe today?
Afternoon, I checked with the judge's judicial assistant, and I can tell you Kevin Coe was not present whatsoever for this hearing. There was a Zoom feed for his attorneys over on the west side of the state, but he was not listening in, he was not watching. He waived his right to appear for this. And some of the survivors did address some of their victim impact statements directly to Coe. Again, he was not there to hear those, but I can tell you that one of the survivors said he is a psychopath and that does not go away with age. And then something I do want to clarify, we've talked about the judge made the decision to let him go. Really, there was no decision made here today by law, because this was an uncontested matter, the civil matter, and both sides were not fighting anything. The state could not had the burden of proof to show that he needed to be kept in civil commitment. The Attorney General's office said we cannot prove that because of a psychologist's order. So by law, he had to be released. So the judge really had no discretion or no decision here, which she did reiterate a few times during the hearing today.
I did hear her say that today. She also had to, she was very transparent with the victims, saying they were able to give a victim impact statement, but there would be no impact from those, meaning that they wouldn't have any effect on him being released or not. However, as you said, they were able to speak today. So Shannon, he was able to choose then not to appear today. Is that what I understand?
That's my understanding from the judicial assistant as well, that he was able to waive his right to sit in on the hearing, either by Zoom, or I would assume that it would be by Zoom, but he was not present at all.
About next steps, was he immediately released? Do we know that? Do we know how that happens?
So Laura, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, but what I can tell you is within the next few hours, within the next 24 hours at the very least, Kevin Coe will be released. We did speak with acting Spokane County Prosecutor Preston McCollum after today's hearing. He really had nothing to do with the proceedings because this was the state and Kevin Coe's attorney working this out. But McCollum did tell us that from what he understands, Coe will be taken to likely an adult group home on the west side of the state. We don't know exactly where that will be or what that is, but he will be unconditionally released, meaning that he will be walking free. If he would like to walk out of that group home, he is free to do so. We do know from the Attorney General's office he will have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life, but for all intents and purposes, he will be a free man.
All right, thank you. That is Shannon Mowdy reporting for us today. And during today's hearing, 5 of Kevin Coe's victims spoke out, and one of those was Shelley Monahan. Here's some of what she had to say.
None of us should ever consider, even after today, that Fred Coe is ever going to be free, because he will never be free. Satan has been a part of his life from the time he was a young adult and started doing these crimes.
And today, Washington Representative Michael Baumgardner sent a statement to KREM following today's decision, or again, the announcement today of Kevin Coe being released. He said, quote, Kevin Coe should have been given life in prison or the death penalty for his heinous crimes on Spokane South Hill. It's deeply disturbing for anyone in Spokane that he will be out on the street. And moments after today's hearing wrapped up, Spokane County's prosecuting attorney spoke to the victims and to the media. Our Amanda Rowley asked him how the victims reacted to his message.
They're frustrated, and rightfully so. And they get to be. We are in an imperfect system where they do not have the protections that, in my opinion, they're entitled to. And so our society, our values need to be more focused on those that are affected by crime versus every single story, every single bill that's going forward. Instead of venerating the criminal, we need to be talking about the impact that criminal has on our local community.
So once again, as we've been hearing this morning, the next step for Coe is to be released to an adult family group home, expected to be in Federal Way on the west side. However, he will be free to leave should he choose to do so. So we will certainly continue to follow this story throughout the day. And as we move further along, you can get the very latest on KREM 2 Plus and on KREM 2 News First at 4. All right, it is 7 minutes past 8 right now. We're going to take a pause in the day's news. It is mild outside, I think is a way to describe it. We have Thomas Patrick standing by with a look at the weather. Thomas.
Yeah, good afternoon, Laura. I can tell you it's definitely mostly cloudy, but calm here in Spokane. The sun trying to find a little spot behind the clouds and behind me just to shine through a little bit. Still quite a large storm system off of the coast, but it's really out of gas and kind of out of steam at this point. And that's why when you have the radar layer on top of this, there's very little green, maybe a little bit out on the west side and maybe the occasional sprinkle here in the inland northwest. But this is not very much. Looks like a little bit just trying to extend up towards the Silver Valley. So Kellogg probably getting a little bit of light rain at the moment. But this might be about it for today. I do think things stay mostly cloudy here across the region. Again, just a couple spots of some light rainfall here or there just to keep us watching Doppler radar for the rest of the day. However, it's looking like it's just going to be pretty calm but average fall-like day for us. Our temperatures should only top out in the low 60s, one of our cooler days that we've had recently, but no stretch of the imagination here for early October. So coming up, I'll show you how much calmer and sunnier the weekend will be, but how our temperatures will react to it, because some days will be warmer, some nights will be colder.
Coming in new today, the Moses Lake Police Department says a report of middle school cross-country runners being threatened with a man with a gun is false. They received reports of a man with a gun between Milwaukee Avenue and Montlake Park in Moses Lake. Reports say initially the man, while in a car, threatened several students. This, as you might imagine, triggered a large-scale response, but police were unable to find someone matching the student's description. The police department shared in the Post yesterday that the information provided to officers was not truthful, and a report, they say, will be filed with prosecutors for false reporting.